Mercedes Schlapp, former White House Strategic Communications Director, and Hogan Gidley, former White House Deputy Press Secretary. Good to see you both. Thanks for being here. Hogan, you know, the most common phrase from this administration is no one saw it coming. Remember, we heard that with Afghanistan. We heard that with Omicron. And I suspect that we're hearing that with regard to what Russia did. Certainly in November, they weren't sending all the missiles that the Ukrainians were asking for because the Ukrainians knew the Russians were coming. But according to the Biden administration, no one saw it coming. They didn't want to provoke any action. I mean, again, this is a definition of leading from behind, right?
Well, look, they also said that these things weren't going to happen. The measures they put in place would be deterrents. Then they said, wait a minute, we knew it was going to happen. The whole thing's a disaster. Look, it's not unique for presidents to be tested domestically and internationally. What is unique is that this president fails every single one of those tests. Yeah. What does it tell you? That the international face of strength, of freedom, of leadership is a literal Ukrainian comedian, when sadly right now it's America's president that's the joke. We aren't feared, loved, and respected in this world anymore. We aren't driving events. We're reacting to them. And I'm going to agree with Jen Psaki on your show when she pointed out, after seeing Russian aggression under the Obama administration and under the Biden administration, saying it's a pattern. It sure is, because this never would have happened under Donald Trump, because the world understood if they moved in to one of our partners or allies or tested Donald Trump in any form or fashion, they were going to be met with swift resistance and full-out force. This administration, quite frankly, is not serious.
Well, and Mercedes, now you get this very strange narrative that somehow Donald Trump either encouraged Putin or at the very least is happy about what Putin did, which is just nuts. I mean, you have Biden served in two administrations. One as vice president, one as president. Both administrations now have had a Russian invasion. There was none under Donald Trump's. And by the way, that Wagner group or Wagner group, however you want to pronounce it, right. The group of mercenaries who are now terrorizing Ukrainians. They're part of the hit squad trying to kill Zelensky. Donald Trump killed 215 of them in Syria when they were in Syria. That's why Putin didn't do anything under his watch.
I can tell you, David, that Hogan and I can attest to this, that we remember so many times these liberal and mainstream reporters kept saying President Trump is not tough enough on Russia, not tough enough on Putin. And we would come out with our list of what President Trump did to stop Russian aggression. Right. And it was powerful. And so you compare that to what we're seeing now with President Biden. Look, there is no question that Putin has been able to outplay Biden. He knew that we had a weak leadership here in the United States, where we're spending more time trying to be a divisive country and focus on what we should be focusing on here in the United States, as opposed to dealing with these international matters that we knew were going to be critical. The mere fact that right now the United States and the Biden administration is negotiating with Iran, a state of terror who basically supports terrorism. Mind you, Russia is part of these negotiations with Iran. Chances are Iran's going to end up with nuclear weapons. That is simply an outrage. We saw the Biden administration going down and negotiating and talking to the Venezuelan dictator Maduro. I mean, we're seeing just one mistake after another in terms of foreign policy. Let's add to that the fact that the New York Times reported that the Biden administration handed over intelligence and talked to the Chinese about what the Russians were doing. So what did the Chinese do? They handed that intelligence over to Moscow. I have got to tell you, it has been a disastrous administration from a foreign policy standpoint, and it's why you're seeing Putin saying, I'm not just stopping at Ukraine, and basically manipulating every single one of the actions that we're taking here in the United States to put pressure on Putin and the Russian government.
Hogan, it wasn't only the hard military action that Trump took. I mean, they were diddling about all kinds of sanctions right up until the Russians marched into Ukraine. Donald Trump began it before the invasion happened, and it was taking off those sanctions that really gave him the impetus to go in there, right?
And it wasn't just the sanctions that we did under the Donald Trump administration that prevented Russia from moving. We got out of the Open Skies Treaty. We got out of INF. Of course, we prevented Nord Stream 2 from happening.
So
we
where
also
does
sent
this
lethal
narrative
aid to
come
Ukraine.
from? Where does this narrative come from that Donald Trump was somehow weaker dealing with Russia than Biden?
It's because they want it to be true. And the fact is, let's pretend for a second that Donald Trump had not done a single thing to Russia at all. We hadn't put one sanction. We hadn't closed down diplomatic facilities, none of that. Let's just pretend that for a moment. Russia did not invade a single country under Donald Trump. That is the proof positive of what strength does as a deterrent around the world.
Mercedes, I owe you one. We got to run, but thank you both for being here. Mercedes, Hogan, great to see you both. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.